All right, welcome to another broadcast of Truth Be Told, the Monday edition. I'm Tony Sweet, and we have on location, guess who? Dean Ryan. How you doing, Dean Ryan?
Good to be back.
Say that one more time. You got cut out there for
It's
a
good
second.
to be back here. I'm on the road and just doing some special reports for Truth Be Told. And man, what a hell of a weekend, huh?
If you didn't drink, you do now.
That was Trump's tweet, wasn't it?
Right.
It was an interesting weekend. Interesting 24 hours.
Yeah, I saw that. And we have Captain Ron in the house. How you doing, Captain Ron?
I'm doing fantastic.
Well, Dean, tell us what's going on in your world when it comes to watching what happened the last 48 hours.
Well, I got to be honest with you, Tony. Last night's debate was really spectacular. We actually made a drinking game out of it. Every time Hillary Clinton smiled with that Joker smile, you got to take a drink of your nearest cocktail. And I literally thought I was going to die at one point, but I managed to get through it and recover. But just what a spectacle, really! It was like watching Wimbledon, but with like grenades instead of tennis balls.
I have to say, even people in the audience, you could see their faces like, what the hell is going on here? It was baffling. We've never in our lifetime seen a presidential debate or race like this. This is, and only thing I can say is I'm glad I'm living this era so I can look back 20, 40 years from now and go, I remember
the bottom.
the bottom of America.
Hopefully this is the bottom.
But it was a spectacle. But I have to say, it's the next 30 days is going to be very interesting. I think if any other time, if anything would have happened, both sides, Hillary or Donald, I think either one would have been gone a long time ago. So this is an interesting time to see where Americans really are in their political views and just personal lives.
The gutter.
Yeah. So.
What was interesting too is. We originally were watching it on this cable channel called Democracy Now! And so after Hillary would say something and Trump, they would bring on a third-party candidate. In this case, it was Jill Stein. And then she would give her two cents on it. So that was kind of unusual. However, it was kind of annoying as well because I really wanted to watch the title match. So we switched it to C-SPAN. And it was pretty awesome. And man, we had a lot of fun last night.
I bet. When did you pass out?
An hour ago.
Oh, God. I couldn't tell you. I mean, she was smiling so much. And then we should have had like a bonus section for the drinking game. Every time a fly would land on your face, you would probably have to down a bottle of bourbon.
See, I didn't see the fly.
I didn't see it live. No.
I saw a couple of people say, did you see the fly? And I'm like, what fly? I didn't even notice it.
Well, you have to look closely. I mean, I see these things being a real journalist. Seeing it.
Oh, you're correct. And I heard, I don't know, did you hear that actually Trump called her honey?
I didn't hear that.
That's what somebody else did.
Did you hear that,
Dean?
Dean?
Did you hear her call her honey?
Are you kidding me? That happened last night?
You wouldn't have remembered anyway,
No.
but
Did it really?
That's what somebody
I'm
said.
surprised. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
all right, well, I think it's time for the news with Captain Ron.
We would love to do news. We'd love to talk about other things, but how can we not just talk about this?
Yeah,
I mean,
just
this
bring it up.
This is what to talk about
in the room. It's the elephant.
It is. It is the elephant in the room. That videotape that came out, was it Friday? Unbelievable. Now, when I first saw this on TV, they made this big deal about it, about how shocking and graphic it was. They were like, "Don't look away." I thought they had videos of him with naked little kids or something. They made it really, really scary. And then you saw it, and it's like, okay, it was crude and rude, clearly. But listen, this did not shock me because I've known Trump. I've heard him on Stern for the last 20 years. I've heard him during this debate, all these different things he said. It's not that different. Other than that one line of grabbing her crotch, other than saying that, everything else is exactly how he talks all the time.
And I was more shocked that actually CNN actually played the PUSSY. I was more shocked.
Right,
at
without
that.
bleeping it.
Yeah, without bleeping it.
Were you shocked by that, Dean?
I mean, is it shocking that people in power, especially men, talk like that. I mean, I remember being in junior high, listening to guys embellish about their dates over the weekend, saying things even worse. And if you really listen to the tape, it kind of sounded satirical too, of embellishment. So I
agree.
I can understand that women would be offended, because the truth is a lot of guys talk like that. I mean, people should hear Tony off air. It's just really, I got to close my ears sometimes, Tony.
Hey, you can call my sister a piece of ass.
Yeah,
No,
listen.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't want to spend an hour on this, but I just want to go through a few of these things just to show that, like, there's a precedent here. You know, back in 91, was that 20?
I don't even
25 years ago?
I was in college.
I was 2 at the time.
Uh-huh.
And
I wasn't born yet. I was not born yet.
Trump told
his mic is turned off.
Told one of the Esquire magazine female reporters that it doesn't really matter what you write as long as you're young and have a beautiful piece of ass. That's what he told.
Well, that makes sense.
He said this in an interview with Esquire magazine, you know, and then in 2006 he said that thing you were talking about the daughter, where that he would be dating her. If it wasn't my daughter, I'd probably be dating her. What? You know, and then go ahead.
It's funny about NBC too, Captain Ron, is
tell me.
They're going to give Howard Stern a pass. I mean, this was the guy, Howard Stern, that was playing games like Lord of the Anal Ring Toss. Then they forgive him and put him on a family show called America's Got Talent.
He's not running for office. It's different to be running the country and fruiting around on the radio like we are. I mean, really.
So if you ever run for president.
Why would they? I'm just saying, why would they fire or suspend Billy Bush?
The Today Show is a...
Well, that's what I said, that they're making a big deal about Trump, but then they end up kind of not really brushing it under the carpet, but Billy's getting suspended. I'm like, what? He didn't even say it.
I think they had to do something. I think he'll be back in 2 weeks. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's just they had to react, and
he just laughed.
I mean, you know, as the president of the Billy Bush fan club that I am, I'm astounded.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So over these years on the Stern Show, I'm just going to give you a couple of these. There's 100 of these. I listened to a lot of them. Just a few of the beauties are like Trump said to Stern that, you know, I like sex, and then Stern said, well, have you had threesomes? And Trump said, absolutely, I had. So there you go. He said that openly. He said that.
Well,
he didn't say.
Oh, okay.
So you know, it could get even more
interesting.
You know, juicy. He said that when he owned the pageant, he would walk backstage, and he's allowed to go in because there's no men allowed in that building, but he could go in because he was the owner. So he'd walk through, and all these naked women are there, and he says, well, I'm just inspecting things because I'm the owner. And he bragged about that to Stern. And then he said to Stern that when they asked him, well, what about when women get older? Are you still interested? And he said, well, what is it, Howard, 35? That's called checkout time. That's a little harsh.
Oh, my God.
So you're still in the running, Dean.
He said...
he's just trying to be a good owner. He's just trying to be a good owner. I mean, that's all I can say.
That's it. He said he was actually faithful for his wife for many, many years. But then he realized the marriage wasn't going to work, and that was the end of that. And then Stern said, well, how young could you go? Could you be banging 24-year-olds? And Trump said, absolutely, I have no problem with that. He goes, I don't have any age limit whatsoever. Well, I do have an age limit. I'm not like Congressman Foley, you know, with 12-year-olds. So he does have a line. That's good to know. He does draw the line there somewhere. Stern said, what do you think the perfect date is to Trump? This is like a joke, you know. What do you think the perfect date is? Trump says, well, you meet the girl at 7 for drinks. You promise to take her to dinner, but you never get there. I mean, that's fantastic. So this is to say, I've heard those. I've heard Stern on there. So when I heard this thing on the bus,
yeah,
it really was not a shock to me at all, you know. And even recently in 2012, when Ariana Huffington, her husband left her, Trump tweeted out that I fully understand why her husband left her for a man. She made a good decision. She's both unattractive inside and out. So he's even put this stuff out, you know, in tweeting. That's not like a private conversation. He tweeted this out. So And even during the debates, remember when he told Megyn Kelly, she's bleeding out her eyes and somewhere else or whatever he said. Whatever, yeah. Then, to me, what was more offensive was when they were doing the debates with all the Republican candidates up there, and he said, "How about Carly how do you say her name? Fiorina?
Farina or whatever.
Farina." He said, "Look at that face. Who would vote for that?" Now that to me is pretty harsh, So he said that openly in debate. So we're used to this by him. Not to mention ripping on Rosie O'Donnell, the swimsuit girl. What's her name? Miss Piggy.
Oh, the
Miss Housekeeping, Miss Universe, calling her Miss Piggy and this
Miss Housekeeping.
Miss Housekeeping. That's pretty offensive, man. Yeah. So if people took all that, to be outraged by this, to me is pretty silly. And the reality is, I looked into this a little bit, and you saw all these guys dropping like flies, the senators, the Republicans, what do you call it, denouncing him, pulling their endorsements. But when you talk to the actual voters, they did a poll of voters in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and 91% of voters said the video does not affect them at all. They said that the main reason they like Trump is because he's ending political correctness. So they want him to be this way. So it does not sway them at all. These guys that are denouncing Trump are guys trying to get reelected and trying to be real safe. But the truth is, the voters out there aren't really bothered by this video.
Did you ever see that movie? It was a. Never mind. Go ahead. I'll bring it back up when I can remember it.
Okay, brother.
History of the World, Part 1.
Of course.
When Mel Brooks was the king, he goes, "It's good to be the king," because he could go and hump the girls, grab the girls. It's good to be the king. I can see that'd be Trump right there.
I've been around this world and worked for these kind of people. I mean, that's just the way they are. Like you said, Dean, this is how men talk. I know it's horrible, but the reality is that's how men talk. There's a bit of a gender gap on this too. It was like 43 to 42% where women had more of a reaction to this, obviously, than men did, because men aren't really shocked by this. Now, him grabbing her, that's a little bit of over the line, but everything else is pretty much how men talk. And also, a guy like Trump, I've just pretty much laid out that I've heard him talk like this for 20 years, so it was not shocking to me.
Right.
And now they're talking, these guys are coming out. You heard this producer of the Apprentice TV show? They've got 20 people they've interviewed that worked on the Apprentice show. And they say this is how he talks all the time. And I think you're in that atmosphere, and it's just the way it is. And some of these guys,
when you're boss,
especially when it's the boss, that's the guy in charge. That's a good point. So the guy in charge walks around acting like this, like the guy, the head of Fox. That guy was terrible, also.
Right.
So allegedly,
he just paid out $50 million allegedly. And now they're saying that they've got a lot of these things on tape from the Apprentice tapings because that's just the way Trump talked. They told us these stories to this article that they said that he'd be sitting at the table going, I love that dress on you, and to ask a cast member, hey, would you have sex with her? You think she'd be good in bed? Like openly. And obviously these cuts didn't make the final tape, but they recorded them. Mm-hmm. So I would not be surprised if shit's coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I'm going to ask Captain Ron and Dean, and even the people watching us later on YouTube, and I'm very curious: is there something Trump can do or did do that will actually change the mind of a Trump supporter? Is there anything that
raping
do?
A skull or something?
How
offensive does it have to be to do it? Right, that's the point.
I'm just very curious because we get a lot of people that that are Trump supporters, and it's great. We appreciate that, but I'm just curious what would change your mind? Is there?
That's
anything?
a great. I don't know. It seems like nothing. Again, this is why they like him.
Let me just chime in. I honestly, Tony, I think people are so terrified right now on both ends. The people that are terrified of Trump are holding their nose and voting for Hillary, and the people that are terrified of Hillary are holding their nose and voting for Trump. And people are really scared right now. And Trump supporters, all in all, the ones that are awake and really following what's going on, is they really don't want to go to war with Russia. They see the war propaganda going on this Obama administration, and I mean, for crying out loud, 600 military servicemen just went back into Baghdad. I think people are sick of war. They're sick of America being the policeman of the world. So I think it doesn't really matter what Trump allegedly said or didn't say. I think people are so fatigued with all the wars going on since 9/11. And to highlight what you're saying, what Ron was saying, I don't really think there's anything that Trump could say that's going to persuade people not to support him, because people are tired of war. That's just the bottom line.
What if he came out and did something like he was in cahoots with Russia? Or what if it came out that he was behind? How bad would it have to be, you think, for them to turn on him?
I mean, what if Hillary Clinton is in cahoots with ISIS and arming them in Benghazi?
Yeah, but
and
Hillary's a different animal. We're talking about Trump. These Trump guys are behind him no matter what, and that's what we're wondering. What would it have to take?
I don't think, unless he says he's like the son of God or something, I really don't see anything he says that's really going to turn his supporters away. Because people have had 30 years, 25 to 30 years to hate the Clintons.
Yeah.
They know who she is. They know what that family's about. And if they watch this show, they know she's using body doubles. So
robots.
People know.
Well, okay, that's an interesting. Maybe.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is going to be on YouTube. I would love your comments. I would love to hear from you and see if there is anything.
I think more videos are going to come out of Trump. I think they're going to have audio tapes of him saying crude things again. And I don't think people are going to react because they're going to be like, okay, I know, we get it. We've heard it.
It's almost, I have to say, reality shows have changed the face of America. I think just because of television, we have gotten to see so much train wreck constantly.
That's a great point.
We're just numb to it. And so I think this is why a lot of people aren't reacting. 20 years ago, this tape would have been devastating.
Absolutely.
Devastating.
Oh, totally. I totally agree with Tony.
Yep.
I think
if Gerald Ford would have said this, done.
Yeah.
No, Tony's absolutely right. I think the combative culture in the pop culture that's been pushed on the American psyche with the reality shows.
Right.
I think people are so desensitized to this kind of lingo because we watch it every day when you turn on the TV. And, we can even ask the question of what WikiLeaks or what email is it going to take to persuade the Hillary Clinton supporters not to vote for her? I mean, we could pose the question on the other side of the coin there.
That's right. And how bad is it going to have to be something in there?
I mean, I know a lot of both, and I can say probably there's really not much that would change the mind.
All right. Should have to explicitly say something horrible.
Oh,
right.
So, yeah, I mean, Hillary Clinton could literally barbecue an infant on her lawn and eat them and videotape herself, and she still would have supporters. I mean, it's just incredible that Hillary Clinton eats babies. I mean, who would have known?
Is there potato salad?
Well, naturally, Tony, you want potato salad.
Naturally, Tony, that's a natural pairing
then I might
with a
think
white
about
wine.
Hey, you're from Kansas. You know how it is.
I do.
Chianti. Okay, so a bunch of these guys came out. That's right.
Right.
The Idaho Senator Mike Crapo, as Trump says, he pulled his support. Kelly Arnett from New Hampshire pulled her support. Obviously, John McCain. A lot of these guys, Condoleezza Rice, they've all pulled their support for Trump. But here's one that I found very interesting that came out the other day and said this is the first time in his lifetime that he's going to vote for a non-GOP candidate.
Who said that?
Former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because, he's crystal clean and has not ever been accused of groping women or being derogatory towards women or sleeping with his maid or of all people. This is going to pull him. Hey, I'm not voting for this guy. Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that shocking?
When I saw that too, I was just like, really? You want to open that can of worms?
Why not just say no comment? That amazed me. And then there's Governor John Kasich, who was the next in line for the Republican thing. He was the second finalist. He says what I say. He said, nothing that's happened in the last 48 hours is surprising to me or many other people. And that's how I feel about it. I feel like, that's how Trump probably talks in private. He's a billionaire guy. He's a sexist pig, and that's the way he is. And if you like him and you're voting for him, then that's fine.
But Ron, before he entered the election, that was his persona of being the crude, kind of arrogant guy and
politically incorrect.
Myself,
that's his appeal.
That's his persona, and for a lot of people, I was one of them. It's funny. I mean, just like Howard Stern is crude and rude. I mean, it's funny, and that's why Jesse Ventura asked Howard Stern to be his VP if he was going to run for president this year, because he's just off the cuff. He's a loose cannon, and it's entertaining, and that's the kind of culture, as earlier, that we're living in today. We're living in a rude, crude culture where, I mean, look at every comedy film that comes out. It's lowbrow locker room humor, and people are so desensitized to it.
That's true. But that's what my appeal for Trump was. That's what I do like about Trump, is that he gives a real answer and a straight answer and not a politically canned, rehearsed answer. Right. That's one thing I felt when I listened to Hillary last night. She gave answers, but you could tell she practiced that question 100 times, and it was just like,
I'm still waiting for him to. I'm still waiting for him to say, "Pull my finger," though.
Well, could it get that low? Okay, so
oh my God!
I don't even know how do you say this? I don't even know if this could possibly be true. How about that? His wife. Do you see the dress she was wearing?
I'm going to show that right now.
Dare I say the name of this dress? They call this apparently a pussy bow dress. Do you think that's a coincidence that she chose to wear this to the event last night? I laughed out loud when I heard that.
I've never even heard of a pussy bow.
Not till
I've heard of a
not in those terms.
Yeah, I've heard of them separately.
Okay, now going back, we're talking about how old we are. Remember they had that MTV had the Rock the Vote thing. And they wanted everybody to just go out and vote, and all the different rock stars would come. They didn't pick a candidate. They were just like, go rock the vote. Go out there, let your voice be heard, rock the vote. Well, there's a new one called Vote Your Future. Vote Your Future. And they got Edward Norton, Samuel L. Jackson, Julia Roberts, Emma Stone, a bunch of celebrities to come out. And they just say, it's geared mostly towards younger people, to try to get them to vote, to say that your voice counts. So they want them to make a neutral video, a bipartisan video that just says vote, just like the Rock the Vote thing. Well, an older gentleman, of course, Mr. Robert De Niro, took his stab at this, and I'm not sure how bipartisan his was. Why don't we take a look at that one, Tony?
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump. If you care about your future, vote for it.
So tell us how you really feel there, Mr. De Niro. That's pretty insane. I mean, obviously, they never aired this. They didn't use it because, obviously, he didn't get the point of the whole just go out and vote thing. He used this as a chance to just voice his opinion, I guess. And obviously they didn't use it, but it's hysterical that it came out, and that was his opinion. I thought that was pretty interesting. What'd you think there?
It's kind of scary, actually, to hear him say. I mean, if you see Casino and Goodfellas, I'd be a little frightened too.
That's pretty intense, man.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
I'm a little scared myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
that. But Tony, I mean, again, I hate to be the voice of almost reason.
That's my role.
Julia Roberts and the feminists talking about all the women that Bill Clinton raped and that he settled out of court with and that Hillary covered up. Who's their voice? I mean, who stands up for those people? Of a guy who actually his actions really did hurt people, not just his words. Where are we going to hear the Emma Stones of the world and Robert De Niro's talk about that?
I mean, you're right. If that's the case, and I agree. I think that should be a point well taken.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, let's spade a spade here. And if you saw the look on President Bill Clinton's face last night with those.
Oh, he was uncomfortable.
Yeah, what'd you think of that? So before the debate started,
He was uncomfortable.
Trump had a little press conference, and he brought in 4 women that had a past with Bill Clinton, supposedly, right? Allegedly.
I was waiting for Jerry Springer to come out.
What'd you think of that, Dean?
It's not even alleged. He paid Paula Jones outside of court.
Right.
It's all documented legally. Roger Stone wrote a book on it, The Clintons' War Against Women. And if Roger was wrong, and if Roger's allegedly talking out of his backside, he would have been sued by now.
Right.
Same with these women. You know, it's fair game. It's fair game. If you want to put a face on people that have been victimized, if people are so ignorant, they don't want to see all the families that are fleeing for their lives right now in Syria and Libya and Yemen and all these conflicts through the Obama administration that's been released in WikiLeaks. They don't want to look at that. Then let's look at the 4 women that were actually brutalized by this man. You know, if they want to ignore all the dead bodies that surround the Clintons, then let's bring them to the debate. Let's put a face on what true victimization looks like.
Trump got some heat for that, but I thought that was an interesting approach that it certainly added to the freak show. You know, it's certainly
the only thing I don't like about it that it's for political gain.
Right.
That's the only reason I don't like it. That I mean, I agree with you, Dean, and everybody that says that it needs to be addressed, but not for political gain.
And maybe not an hour before the debate.
Right.
You know, I mean that's
other
clearly,
than that, I agree with you. I just don't think just to get somebody elected.
This has been the defense when you ask anybody from the Trump camp about, like, hey, what'd you think of that video? They answer, well, Clinton did all these emails. You know, it's like nobody wants to talk about it and just move on from it, you know.
Right. So but
that's kind of what they were doing there, deflecting, I think.
Well, we have a couple minutes before we take a break, and then we have one of our very beautiful, talented correspondents going to be on the show. Dean, you want to introduce who we have coming up?
Oh, sure. We got our Truth Be Told media analyst newswoman, Mycki Manning. Tony, I'm really excited because Mycki has been following WikiLeaks like to the core and studying and analyzing them as well as the debate. She knows how to read body language. And I think, 90% of communication is nonverbal.
Right.
And anybody watching that so much body language going on. It was just unreal. And we're going to take a really good look at that. And we're going to bring Mycki on the hard break coming up and really get down to the nitty gritty of nonverbal communication and these incredible WikiLeaks that just came out today. I believe it was like over 2,000 or so, and more are coming. So this is just, on this show, we're going to really break it down, and we're going to be as non-biased as possible.
Well, all right. Well, then we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we have Mycki going to be talking about the debate and WikiLeaks. We have Dean Ryan, Captain Ron, and myself from Truth Be Told Monday edition. We'll be back in just a minute. We hope you guys take a quick break, pee break, and then be right back. Don't go anywhere.
United States Pharmacopoeia, USP, sets the standard for most food supplements and are used in over 95% of all vitamin and mineral supplements in the world. The problem is that these products have never appeared in any living tissue. They're created in laboratories and are not recognizable to the body's metabolism. Grown by Nature products are different because they use renatured ingredients, proprietary blends of essential vitamins and minerals, with cofactors of proteins, lipids, and complex carbohydrates. Over 50 studies have been conducted on renatured nutrients, and over 20 have been published in peer-reviewed journals proclaiming their superiority. As a result, Grown by Nature vitamins and supplements are now recognized as simply the best available. Call 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829 and order your Grown by Nature products today. We are what we eat, and since we are of nature, we should eat foods in their natural form. Only Grown by Nature offers a full line of renatured nutrients. Call 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829 because not all products are grown by nature, but they should be.
Do you suffer from anxiety, from depression, maybe even chronic pain? Well, listen up. Truth Be Told is going to tell you about a breakthrough program built on over 100 years of therapies used in America's returning veterans to help you successfully overcome PTSD, anxiety attacks, pain, and depression. The secret proven in study after study. Music therapy. The effects of music are nothing short of amazing. From strokes to PTSD, music has been shown to improve the quality of life. Now, one of the latest music therapy programs being used in America's veteran hospitals can be yours to experience for free, at home, and to help your own anxiety attacks, pain, and depression. Or just relax after a hard day. It's called Whole Tones. It takes music therapy to a new level. This revolutionary program makes use of specifically designed frequencies that have been shown to stimulate your body's natural healing power down to a cellular level. If it works for battle-scarred vets, can it work for you? Well, experience it for yourself for free at sweetwholetones.com. Like Tony Sweet, that's SWEET. Go to sweetwholetones.com. Now enjoy the show. All right, we are back. This is Truth Be Told, the Monday edition. I'm Tony Sweet, and I have the amazing Captain Ron is in the house. Dean Ryan's on location, and we have with us today Mycki Manning. Hi, Mycki.
Hi.
Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you back. I know you are the expert of watching this debate and WikiLeaks that was just released. I think you said today, I believe. So could you go ahead and just start in? Just start with the debate first. What did you notice? What did you see?
First thing I noticed was Donald Trump came out wearing the red tie. And as a consultant, to me, that means he means business. He's more confident. He's more prepared. And he's coming out for more of a fight this time. And I think he definitely did that.
Yeah, that is true, because Hillary wore the red the first time and blue this time.
Right. Huh. Now, interestingly, if you think about that, she wore blue. She had the light blue. She was a little more demure and subtle. I think that was calculated as well. You know, the gesturing that a lot of them learn, everything is so much more calculated than people realize. They have a consultant work with them over and over again. And one of the things I think that's appealing about Trump is that he's not trained in his gesturing. He gets excited. He gets passionate. And that creates a level of trust people because they see him as more real and not so contrived and precise.
Where do you draw that line, though, of being real or then being too temperamental, where it's too much? Where do you draw that line?
I think he definitely has been temperamental in the past. And honestly, I think for how he's performed before and what we've seen on The Apprentice, you know, the you're fired moments when he gets really good, I don't think we really saw that from him. Not like what people were maybe hoping for. I think that he was able to give just enough of that to renew the faith in people that he's going to speak the truth, as he always claims. And, you know, the jury's still out on all of that for a lot of us. Whether, they're both so quick to fact check. Neither one of them are totally accurate in all of their information. Right. And I think as people are fact checking, you know, there's some stuff going on both sides that's inaccurate.
Hey, let
me ask Mycki, too. I don't know if you noticed, too, Hillary Clinton, as she did in the first debate, she tends to promote HillaryClinton.com a lot.
That does get
almost for like an instant fact check.
Amateurish.
And, and honestly, I don't know anybody that goes to HillaryClinton.com at all. I've never met anyone. I mean, besides Tony and Ron, I don't know anybody that really goes on there and gets on the email list.
Well, she said she listened to our show. So
you're going to have Hillary Clinton do your fact checking for you when it's her facts that we're checking. How's that really going to work? Is anybody going to trust that?
Well, here at truthbetoldwebtv.com, listen, the question I have for you, you said it was everything's rehearsed, their gestures and all that. What about Trump? Like, she seemed very professional. She stood up, answered the question, and then she sat in her chair. Trump walked around and stalked her and stuff. What'd you think of that? Was that by design?
He did.
Yeah. Seriously, what was that about? I mean, that was fascinating. Was it by design, by choice?
Fascinating. And sometimes he looked like this giant ogre kind of looming, like he was going to grab her. Yeah. It was a little creepy. Yeah. I'm not sure if it worked. I don't know what the tactic was. I can't imagine somebody telling him to do that. But I think with Trump, maybe he's going to have somebody coach him, and then it's all going to go right out the window, and he's going to do what he wants.
He looked like when he used to do the wrestling, go into professional wrestling, right? Like how he'd walk around the ring.
That's exactly what we said. That's what reminded us of the wrestling. That's exactly right.
Right.
Mycki, Tony brought up a point earlier that what is it going to take for to sway people away from Trump? What is it? Is there anything he's going to say that's going to be that linchpin moment? But I want to ask you this question as a woman, and as someone who knows a lot of women, is there anything that's going to sway them away from Hillary? Because from my observation, I would say maybe Hillary might be getting that woman vote because she's a woman. I would say I don't think she's really getting the male vote. I think men are more prone to vote for Donald Trump and are actually turned away from Hillary Clinton and all the things going on with her. What is kind of your take on that?
I think that's difficult because, you have women that we're subjected to men being this way all the time. I'm not discounting his behavior at all. I just find it interesting that they've sat on this for 11 years, and I'm sure more than one person knew of this existence. They've been waiting for the exact moment to release this, and it's damaging for him. On the same turn, you've got all this other stuff going against Bill and even Hillary getting off a convicted criminal in a rape case and then laughing about it. These aren't pleasant things. And regardless of what they try to do to skew the attention towards Donald with this 11-year-old video, as damning as it may be, I think in the context of what came across, and, of all people, I've had millions of men, well, I don't want to say millions, but a lot, have that kind of conduct with me. And, maybe it's from some of the things I've done as a stage. It comes with, sadly, putting yourself in that position as a woman. Does that make it okay? No, it doesn't. But does that make him damned and the worst choice for president? Not necessarily.
We're all speechless.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's well put, honestly.
Mycki, changing gears real quick. We mentioned earlier that the WikiLeaks came out today, more WikiLeaks, and I know you and we filed a special report on the Assange press conference that kind of really didn't happen, but we were up all night and we watched it. What are some of the things that are coming out now in the WikiLeaks? And also, I want you to talk about the Twitter situation and the relationship with WikiLeaks and some of the things you've been experiencing as of late with that.
Okay. One of the things I noticed that I made a comment to you all on earlier was that Twitter is throttling the feed from WikiLeaks. I have subscribed to the feed, and I was telling people to just go look to see everything. But what I'm noticing is when they come across, I get the notification. If I look at it right then, I see it. If I don't retweet it or do something with it and try to find it later, it's disappeared. So there's definitely some filtering and throttling. They're burying things, making it difficult to find. It's definitely a conspiracy against WikiLeaks, it seems, which is interesting because they're only about 5% into the document dump that they're going to be putting out to us over how long, who knows how long they're going to take the time to make this last.
Have you noticed it?
Well, Tony, real quick, just to highlight what Mycki's experiencing with Twitter, I want you to tell the audience what you experienced on YouTube with the last show that you did on JFK and the CIA. In relation.
Right. Last Friday, we did a show with Peter Janney, his father was a CIA operative, and he didn't know that his father was a CIA agent until his father passed away.
Wow.
But he wrote a book. It's called Mary's Mosaic, and so it was about JFK's assassination and his lover's assassination of Mary Pinchette Mayer, who was murdered. She was a very influential part of a very influential family. Her dad was also a CIA agent. Both were murdered because after he was assassinated about a year later, when the Warren report came out, it was complete. She said it was completely wrong, so she was going to spill the beans. Well, she ended up murdered very shortly after that. Well, I put this up on YouTube, and it's called CIA Kills JFK and Lover. So, well, they actually said that we could not monetize. YouTube said we could not monetize it because it's unadvertising friendly. So I just thought it was weird that that of all the shows we've ever done and titles that we've ever done, that was one of the shows that they decided not to let us advertise. So,
interesting.
So
wow.
There's a conspiracy against this show, folks. That's how close we are on the mark here. That we're the real tip of the spear, and we've only just begun. So that is, I think that's very interesting news for our fans to know.
Well,
I'd like to relate a point to
ahead.
that, if I could,
Sure.
about Assange and what I think is happening with the WikiLeaks, and part of why they're taking a while to filter this out. Relating that to these people turning up dead. Unfortunately, when we look at the history, there's a wake of people that have been attached to information like this that have all died in mysterious ways. And if you look at Assange and the information that's being leaked, and you think about the fact that he's in asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and there were little hints that they were actually losing that backing, and they didn't say that, but there were a lot of things that it alluded to in the Q&A that Assange did, that uneventful night. But the most interesting part was in the Q&A when they were trying to tap dance around certain questions, and I feel like they haven't made a deal yet, but I think this information is coming out slowly. This is nowhere near what truly exists and what there is in these emails. And I really feel like this is kind of Assange and the WikiLeaks people maybe putting it out there, hoping to bargain for their life somehow. Or maybe, they've got a button that if they realize it's up, it all just comes out. But I think they've realized this is pretty deep and there may not be a way out for them. So it's interesting to watch the daily feeds and what's coming out and how they're filtering it out.
That is so true, Tony, because people are dying anytime you release anything about the Clintons. And, I don't know if Captain Ron read this in the news earlier, but the fly that actually landed on Hillary Clinton's face is now dead. That's how big it is. Really. Everyone's dying.
That just shows you.
Everybody's
So
dying.
what is the most damning thing that's come out so far from these emails?
That's a great question. I think it's the big picture of all of the information that really adds up to, what we all knew on the alternative news side. We listen to this stuff every day. We don't report on everything because we want to have sound journalism. And so we're kind of waiting to watch what happens. And it's interesting on this inside perspective, seeing the big picture unfolding. And I think the problem with this is that a lot of people discount the side deals being made. The fact that she's obviously stated that she's got, double talk. She has a political face and a public face. There's all this negative talk about the stability of the country. There are all kinds of things that could be enough, truly, to put her in jail, as Donald Trump said. And I would love to see him actually take some of these statements and put them in print like WikiLeaks is releasing. They actually will highlight it in yellow, the statements that are truly condemning, and the quotes from her office members back and forth banter talking about her. And it really paints a picture for not somebody that I necessarily trust, and definitely not somebody that I look up to as a role model for what women should be in America.
So,
wow.
But so you're saying though the WikiLeaks release of today, there was really nothing other, because I'm reading here highlights from the Clinton campaign emails, how to deal with Sanders and Biden, which in any political race, I mean, that's pretty much,
Right.
Big surprise. I mean, it's
That's
like
pretty milquetoast,
that's the problem.
So
I think none of the information so far has really been a shocker. Some of them could have been, but they weren't actually quotes of hers. I think we're still waiting for the bomb, and I think it's coming. But I think this is just building up to painting a big picture of her business motives and her alternate agenda. And yes, we all know that they have them. But I think what this is really showing is it does seem, especially these leaks today, really painted her alliances with wanting one world government and some of her opinions. It also showed her private conversations about how she does not support gay marriage. I thought that was huge because she's taking a big public stance in support of gay marriage. And this had some actual quotes about her and her husband's views against it. It's interesting if you hear what Bill Clinton said about her getting more than he did. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
But didn't she say last night that you can have a private opinion versus your public opinion? She said that.
She did. And I guess the question
I think everybody
is, when
should
does
have
that
that.
private life and public life separate to the point that people are bothered by it? When does it become something where the public walk away from the Walking Dead premiere and go, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to turn the TV off and really find out, do I really want this woman to be our president? She's showing right now through all these WikiLeaks that she has many, many outside agendas. And it doesn't seem like she's really got the best interest of the people in mind. That's what I'm getting from it.
You know, Tony, I just want to say it was on this show a while back, and Tony and I interviewed Max Egan, and I want to get Mickey's opinion on this. And Max made the case that Trump is a shill for Hillary. And Mickey, I know you've been watching very closely this whole election. Knowing what we know about Hillary and how flawed she is, I mean, she's as solid as a nice piece of Swiss cheese. I want to ask you on your professional opinion, is Trump really hammering down 100% or 110%, or is he holding back and pulling punches? And if he is, why is he? If he's not, why is he? Can he go harder?
I think he can definitely go harder, and it's interesting for us to know he's holding back a bit. It does make me wonder what the big picture truly is, because I think a lot of people forget that these people were all friends first. And that's one of the things I found from being a consultant working for politics and working behind the scenes is they might oppose each other on these two things, but suddenly they'll come together on a bill that they're all against. And you see the business machine in place. I always have that in the back of my mind. And for me, it's hard to believe any of this until I really see, is he really going to go for the kill? So far, he's given us just enough to keep the faith that he's going to do it. I don't think he's done it fully, but it makes me wonder if they are all in this together. Is it possibly, to keep Obama in a third term? Could this all be something they're all conspiring on for one world order? We don't know.
Well, here's what I noticed. And listen, if anybody, this is just me being a Kansas boy, loving my mom and daddy. If anybody would talk about my family like that, I would be whooping ass. This is me. But I'm going to show a picture. I'm showing a picture right now of Chelsea and Ivanka after the debate going up, greeting each other very affectionately, and then saying their goodbyes and going back to their camp. What do you guys think about that? I mean, listen, I know they've been friends for a long time, best friends for a long time, but to hear each other's mom and dad, family talking about your parents, I don't know about you, but I would be ready to fight. I
agree with you. To me, it's unbelievable that these poor kids, I know they're adults, but they're young adults, were subject to this ugliness. And that was the saddest part about the debate last night is it wasn't very presidential and it wasn't very businesslike. And they didn't really touch on the policies and as much as I had hoped they would, because they were so busy, beating this dead horse, so to speak. Not that it's not important, but if you added up the total time on this one point, we probably had 40 minutes of the entire 90 minutes collectively about it.
Right.
Don't you think the kids have to act that way to just come off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with Ron on that. I think they have to show some underlining allegiance as, we're the children. We're all about love. We're friends and that. But in closing, Mickey, and then I want to talk about something really special that you're going to be doing coming up here with a certain magazine and on the network. But before we get to that, I would like to know your professional analysis. Two things. If you're Donald Trump, what do you have to do in the next 30 some odd days, or I guess less than 30 days, to win the campaign? So number one. And number two, if you're Hillary Clinton, what do you have to keep doing not to sink lower in the polls? So I want to close on that and get Tony's take on it too as well.
I think for Donald, the best thing he can do is focus on some of the real issues like Obamacare. I think he could have really gone into that in more detail. I know it might be over people's heads, but it's something that they can relate to because of the cost and the soaring costs. I think that he can get into more foreign policy. He really just needs to get firmer on the issues and quit going for the childish argument. I mean, I know that's been his MO to a degree, but he's got to get tough and really come down and be a real politician. He's got to show us he can do this. We know he's a good businessman. He's got to show us he can lead this country. And I don't think he's quite done that for us yet. We're waiting.
And I have to say I agree, because as a businessman myself, if I went to my investors, who I have investors into my company, and I never told them exactly what I was going to do to build this company and take it into the future, I guarantee you they would not believe in me and my vision enough to invest or even want to stay invested.
Right.
So and I agree with you, Mycki, that he did. I have to say he brought some great points up about the Obamacare and a lot of the things that maybe Hillary has done and don't believe in. But we need to finally hear what he's going to do, because if people believe what you're going to do, because if you can say whatever you want to say off the cuff is great, but we need to hear more policy of what you're going to do for the American people.
Dean, what do you think Gary Johnson needs to do to get the victory this fall?
What do I think Gary Johnson needs to do? Well, that's a good question. It's very interesting.
You stumped him. You stumped him.
Ron, I really don't like that question.
Can you rephrase?
I think with Gary, to be quite honest, I think Gary, and I've had some information land on my lap the past few days, I think Gary is not looking to win or looking to help the Libertarian Party, in my opinion. I think Gary's running for Gary to get as much money as he can. He didn't fare so well financially after the 2012 election. And there's actually a great report on that at don'tcomply.com. Some colleagues of mine got some extensive information on that, so I advise our listeners to check that out. But if I could end what Trump needs to do, if I was his boxing manager, I would really, if he's going to use the word Islamic terrorism, I think I would be using the word rape when describing what Bill Clinton did to these women, number one. Number two, I would be talking about how Hillary Clinton in these WikiLeaks wants the war in Syria, how she, the Benghazi was about getting weapons to ISIS, who the West is controlling. I would be going hardcore, Tony, and because, like I said earlier, America is sick and tired of the war. We're sick and tired of being the policemen of the world, and I would hammer home on those 2 points and just try to stay clean the next 30 days or so. That's what I would be if I was his karate instructor.
Perfect. And I think Hillary, honestly, if she doesn't have any more surprises towards her, I think if she does kind of what she does, stays calm, try not to.
She just has not make mistakes.
Take the bait. I think she will do well. But I honestly, I think if there's any other damning that's really going to cripple her, I think she could be done.
Yeah, if nothing comes out and she just plays it safe and she'll be fine. I think
so too. I don't know. You guys,
well, Tony, I know we only have a few minutes left, but this is really, ending on a positive note on this show is sometimes far few in between.
All
but
right.
but in this case, it's really exciting here at the UBN family to have Manning live, the new show coming up in a few weeks.
Yes.
Joining us. As well as being a great addition to our show here. But more importantly, or not importantly, but exciting too, Mycki is going to be giving an exclusive interview in GQ magazine tomorrow. Mycki, you want to tell us about what the future holds for you coming up?
Well, this is pretty interesting. I am excited about my show launching on UBN in a few weeks and very excited to be there with you guys weekly. But tomorrow is interesting. I got a call from magazine. They are doing an interview with me about my political impersonation of Melania Trump, which a lot of people don't know I do, but I play her. And I guess we're going to talk about my media analyst position with Truth Be Told and some of the other stuff coming up and the comparison of analyzing politics and then portraying life.
So that's you in that picture there, right? Tony, is that you as Trump? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
I dressed up as Trump. And
that's me.
Nice.
That is me.
Well, Tony does a great Gerald Ford impression. A lot of people don't know.
Especially when I fell.
Right.
Especially when I fell down the stairs.
Right, Tony? Did I give it away?
Yes, you
Gerald
did.
Ford or,
yeah, when I
There's a lot of money in
off.
playing other people. I'm finally getting paid to play myself. I'm really excited.
Isn't that nice? Well,
I think Ron does a great Walter Mondale. So, yeah.
Oh, Lord. All right. Well, we really appreciate you, Mycki, for being here again and sharing your analysis. And Dean, of course, always a great job. Captain Ron, thank you so much for bringing the news to everybody and us. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in every Monday at 4. And please go to our YouTube channel. If you're watching to it, subscribe, leave a comment. We want to hear from you guys. Go to listen to our audio podcast on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and many other places. So we want to thank you guys. See you next week right here on Truth Be Told with Dean Ryan, Captain Ron, Tony Sweet, and Mycki Manning. See you next week. Bye.